Corey in the house. Yummy, yum, yum. What's good there, Team H and K? So today, we got a special episode for you. So, CoryxKenshin, many of you probably know the well-known established black YouTuber, right? I think he has like 20 mil subs, something insane. Just recently gone down with a bad case of the SA, as they say. But as everyone sort of had a peculiar measurement of what went down, it actually turns out that this is not what people thought before. Okay, to put it lightly. So basically, this chick was someone who Cory messed with, I want to say 7 years ago, in which both of them consensually were together. She then issued a TikTok a little bit later, probably 19 hours ago from when I'm recording this, in which she issued that he, I don't want to say the word, but he may have accidentally R-worded her. Okay, I think that's fair. Now, these are allegations, and obviously these are heinous allegations, right? These are not allegations you make against someone, you know, if you were lying or if you were trying to come to a real conclusion, right? If this was a real victim, you wouldn't, no one would lie, right? Well, the odds of this being the case are actually more prominent than we suspected. So we're going to look at her video and kind of break down her thought process on what may have transpired. Now, this is in no way to defend Cory, just in case he did do something wrong, but I think we have prime speculation to believe that he's an innocent man.
Then I woke up again and it was awful.
Did you watch me sleep?
Yeah, I actually did something to you while you were asleep too.
What?
So he says, I did something to you while you were sleeping, okay? Obviously that incentivized something non-consensual because, you know, kind of a bad joke to say, but regardless. And it says, POV, you didn't know this was one of the videos you look back and realize he never cared. He just wanted to see how long you let him hurt you. Actively coming from the perspective or thought process that, hey, he seemed very innocent. What he did was lure me in, kind of bait me, and then take advantage of me, etc. This is kind of like the synopsis we made, right? Now let's watch this, but let's really, after this, we're gonna kind of break down when these situations get really bad, because situations like this can get to points where it's like, you know, once you get to that stature, okay, you have to deal with stuff like this, and it is unfortunate, but it just is that case. Now, this doesn't mean that every woman's going to be able to do that, or is going to do that, and is well, actually both, right? Not every woman's going to be in a position to even do this to someone of that stature. You know, a lot will, but not many of them are actually even going to do that, right? Because why would you, right? You'd only have to be a weird, like, sick, miserable person to do that.
I'm sorry, I just got this fetish that I do, you know.
Yo,
Look, I didn't hurt you. You're good, right?
What'd you do, Cory?
Just don't worry about it.
Cory?
Good.
Cory, what did you do?
Do nothing. Look, this came right in my face. I didn't do anything.
He did something, and I'm gonna find out on the next episode of
Dragon Ball Z, where you going with this? I'm still on.
I'm still on.
Okay, so that's the first video in which she and him were obviously friendly, right? They didn't seem like just off of their connection anything seemed wrong. Now, he did say a very bad joke, okay? Let's be honest. It definitely, it sounds bad if you put it in the wrong context, but let's go further, okay? Because there's more. There's another video that she posted.
Bacon avocado.
Bacon avocado. I guess this is the TikTok trend. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Bacon avocado.
So when you get to these types of levels, right, and you're obviously a public figure, a lot of these things get a bit wonky because basically you kind of have to treat your relationship like almost a business. Now, not saying that it has to be completely transactional, whether that be monetary, emotional, etc., but more so that you're in the public eye. People are going to see things, even if you don't intend them to. And especially like someone like this trying to take advantage of a moment, possibly. Okay, let's, you know, possibly. She could be issuing an innuendo that he is in some way an abuser or a sexual exploitative person, a manipulator, etc. off the bat, that's not okay. If that is the case, you don't do that to people, not even just women. You just don't do it to people in general, right? Because
An avocado.
that can happen to anyone. Okay. Now I know it's obviously more common in male to female relationships and more dominant aspect, but just figuratively, you can have those both coincide. And I actually do know some people who have had that happen. It's rare and it is kind of weird, but it happens. And it's not to demean that person. It's just when it happens, you're like, wow, that's crazy, right? Now there were more there's more context, right, to this, because it says that he may be innocent. So it says her friend tweeted this, but apparently do not take my word for this. I'm just quoting what her friend posted. Corey was in love with that girl till he found out that she cheated first and oh man, and got pregnant with another dude, a dude's baby. She tried to say it was his, but I couldn't hold my tongue because that isn't right for her to lie to a good man like him. They were both young, making stupid choices in life. I'm not asking you to not hold him accountable for ghosting her like that, but simply saying to listen to each side. Yes, I did wrong. Yes, I did wrong by helping her edit those SS, and I hope y'all can forgive me one day. So it seems that there may be some text that somebody went into basically, Photoshop or re-edit to make him look as bad as possible. When we look at the text here, it says, okay, so since some people are actually believing whatever is being put out, let me go ahead and say the facts. For one, she was essayed, but not by Corey. However, he did make a joke about it being aware. So he is at fault for that, which, by the way, she outright said it was her ex prior to Corey. 2, this happened in 2018, so the factor that people are bringing this up in 2025 is crazy, given the most people have changed within that time frame in which Corey has changed mentally. People who are just outright bashing him, saying that he's completely guilty, is beyond insanity. Let's actually think, people. If the girl wanted to expose Corey, she wouldn't have already done it with actual undeniable proof. Yet every piece of proof has context on it and or taken out of context. So it seems that if we look at the writing, though, the fine print says she was essayed, and I guess that they basically deliberately tried to miscommunicate what it was to effectively put him in that light or that framework. Now, I hope this doesn't transpire to something worse, because with situations like this, a lot of times it doesn't even come down to the fundamentals if that person actually executed said exploitation, but it does come down to whether or not that even that type of charge or accusation is around them. Okay, and we know many people, it's the same tale of time. Every single time it's like, oh, this and the third, oh, he did that, this and the third, right? Go see this video right here.
Between me and Corey, like the essay happened to me when I was younger.
A whole different person.
And it has nothing to do with him. Like, and I said that many times in my letter. I never said it. You guys kind of assume because of his wording in the video that he's saying something weird, like, but he was being playful and he was like saying like things like
thank you for saying that.
To laugh, like we were like, that's something we both laughed at. Like, that's something that didn't make me feel uncomfortable about him. Like, he didn't make me feel uncomfortable in that video. But if you guys read the point of view on there, I never said that was the essay video. I literally said that this is one of the moments that I had with him that that it seemed like it was real, but it wasn't.
So the person that just said, then why post it?
So it seems as if she was on a TikTok live with, I guess, a friend of hers, in which she clarified that he did not essay her. Okay, so it says, he did not, right? Clarification, etc. She does this every year. Wait, for real? It's on Twitter. I can scroll back, but apparently old girl was asking people to edit the screenshot she dropped, an audio of her admitting that she was also into Corey's sleep thing. I guess so. She was into that fetish. He later stated, had a side man while dating Corey and tried to play it off. Corey finally got tired of her and cut her off, and was just leaking Corey while whole friend group members. Okay, so let me just say this. if you've been in the scene, okay, and I'm really just talking about the dating scene or just dating anybody in general, okay, for the guys, okay, I think every guy, if they don't know, or if they are already under the, I guess, the impression, every girl has a group of people they're talking to. Everybody knows it. It's just because you have so many options, right? In the back of every girl's brain, right? When they have this plethora of options, there's one that they're like, that one's probably going to be the one, right? Now, what happens? Time goes on and the execution happens. What I mean is, if out of the 9, one of them hits the lottery, so one of them, you know, becomes successful, has status, etc., that's the one they're going to try to flock to as much as they possibly can. And while all still talking to the rest, right? Kind of having those little strings attached, not big strings attached, but little strings attached. And that's just kind of how that works, right? And they kind of, they're like a moving, it's literally like a Ralph Breaks the Internet, where there's like these ads or things that are moving, and each person just kind of hops onto that ad and starts moving with it, right? Like women like advertise themselves, right? And some people get better ads or better revenue than the other ads, right? But when we're just looking at it from a dissonance, right? If she's talking to other people while also talking to Cory, I think everybody should be under the assumption, just go ahead and already assume every girl you're talking to is already talking to more people. Like, you just go ahead and assume that. Sad reality just is what the case, like, just is what it is, right? I say this to say, if this is the case, but they were together, that changes the dynamic even more, because that makes it even worse, right? Because most of the time it's more so like, whether it's a talking stage and you're like pre-love bomb or like you're pre-something, right? It's not, you effectively cannot allow that to transpire. I feel like if you allow it, you're effectively partaking in the ritual almost. And so what I'm getting at is, for guys, it's always, or I'm not gonna say it's always, but it's slightly similar, or it's slightly different. Most guys, or some guys, I guess, do talk to multiple women, but it's more so the roster is like it's like a cast, right? Now, some people they got good bait, right? And the fish just come in, right? And some people have decent bait, right? The fish, they're around, but they're not biting. It all depends. In relationships like this, I think that she's obviously the manipulator of the situation. I think he may have been a little bit, edgy with the jokes, right? It's a little edgy joke. Hey, I got a little fetish thing, you know, I'm, wherever the case may be. It's like, whoa, Cory. Hey, I don't kink shame. Hey, do you? But I think just when approaching relationships, you kind of just always have that in your mind, regardless, right? Now, that doesn't mean you don't try love. You still have to try love, but it's just coming out with that precaution, like, what are the odds you're the only one? Probably like 0 to none. But I say this to say, when this comes to other like situations where people are put in these like bad, the girl is actively trying to accuse the guy, etc., like the essay, the whole victim complex, etc. This actually puts everyone in a bad predicament, not only just based on that, but you're talking about people who actually have been in situations where people were doing that, right? Then that makes it so when someone does come out and they say, hey, yo, this actually happened to me, now it's kind of like, can we even believe that person? Is it wrong for us to speculate? Which it does feel wrong, because it's like, well, you never know. But the problem is that this does affect both, right? Because now that it's like a stain, it's like every time that happens, the guy gets a stain on his career, and it's that stain that no matter how many times you wash it, it's still that. You ever had a stain, that little stain, and it never fucking goes away? You may as well throw the whole shirt away. It never goes away. And it's in that one spot. Everybody sees it. The same thing with the fucking those accusations or allegations, right? To tie this to his name is deceitful, and it's messed up, because we know that as soon as something like this hits the fan or is not actively debunked, it can reach the statuses where entire careers compromised, or at least just that lingering thought in the back of your mind of what that person could be like behind closed doors gives a distasteful taste to those who consume their content on a daily basis or on average, you know what I mean? So Cory appears to be innocent, right? She appears to just kind of be a little bit psycho, manipulative, the casual, the usual, it's just another day. It's just another day on the on the falling in love tricks. I don't know. But it seems that, both of them have, or at least I feel like Cory may approach this in a dubious stance to, effectively weigh in without compromising anything bad, like not going too crazy or, saying anything the worst. But it does seem that he seems to be totally fine. So that's really it. Just kind of wanted to have a little talk, a little yap session about that. And that's it. All right. So thank you guys for watching. All my huggers and kisses out there. I will see you when you're older. 7 years later. Once I was 7 years old.